So dear students, including Ctenophora, we have completed 3 phyla. Phylum Porifera, Phylum Coelenterata and Phylum Ctenophora. Now we are going to the next phylum, that is Platyhelminthes. Platyhelminthes, you have to split the word into two, platy and helminth. Platy means flat, helminth means worm. So in short, you have to understand Platyhelminthes means flat worms. So now we have to start the point. Phylum Platyhelminthes, they have dorso-ventrally flattened body, hence are called flatworms. So why Platyhelminthes are known as flatworms? What is the reason? Because they have dorso-ventrally flattened body. Dorso-ventrally means you have to understand dorsally and ventrally. From both the sides, dorsal side and ventral side, they are having flattened structure. So they are known as flatworms. In the figure you can see example of Platyhelminthes given in that tapeworm, liver fluke. As you know the structure of tub, even measuring tape, when we are seeing how the structure is there, it is also flattened dorsally and ventrally. Like the structure is here for this tapeworm. That's why the name also like what? Tapeworm. So now coming to the next point, these are mostly endoparasites found in animals including human beings. So the organisms coming under phylum Platyhelminthes are mostly what? Endoparasites. What is the meaning of the word endoparasites? Endoparasites means the parasites which are living inside the body of host. Parasite you know, I think. Parasite means they are depending on the host for nutrition. So there ectoparasites are there, endoparasites are there. Ecto means living out of the body of host and endo means inside the body of host. So here the organism which is coming under Platyhelminthes are mostly which type of parasite? Endoparasites. Yes, these are mostly endoparasites found in animals including human beings. Flatworms are bilaterally symmetrical. So here the point you have to see till now, till Ctenophora when we were discussing the symmetry was different. First one, in the case of phylum Porifera, the symmetry what was that? They are asymmetrical. Then after in Coelenterate, Ctenophora, we saw that the symmetry we discussed that was radial symmetry. But now in the case of Platyhelminthes, we are saying that they are having bilaterally symmetry. That means what you have to understand? The body can be divided into identical left and right halves through only one plane passing through the central axis of the body. So here flatworms are bilaterally symmetrical. Next point, triploblastic. So what you have to understand triploblastic, what we discussed regarding this point? They are having 3 germinal layers. Outer ectoderm, middle mesoderm and an inner endoderm. And they are acoelomate animals. What is acoelomate? That means coelom or body cavities absent in the case of Platyhelminthes. Once again see the point. Flatworms are bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic and acoelomate animals with organ level of organization. Again we have to take a quick revision of the last 3 phyla. In the case of Porifera, level of organization was which one we discussed? Cellular level of organization. and in the case of Coelenterate and ctenophore, tissue level of organization. So first time we are discussing regarding organ level of organization, that is also starting from Platyhelminthes. And next characteristic of Platyhelminthes, hooks and suckers are present in the parasitic forms. As you know, parasitic forms means they are depending on the host. So they have to attach with the body of the host, otherwise body parts of the host. So for that they are needed some structures. So in that case, Platyhelminthes, majority of them are endoparasites, and to live in that condition, they are having structures like hooks and suckers. That's what attached to the host body. Some of them absorb nutrients from the host directly through body surface. Some of them absorb nutrients from the host directly through their body surface. Specialized cells called flame cells help in osmoregulation and excretion. This is a very important point related to Platyhelminthes you have to remember. Some specialized cells called flame cells help in osmoregulation and excretion. In the case of Porifera, we discussed that is water canal system. Then we came to case of Coelenterata, we told that there is gastrovascular cavity. And now here in the case of Platyhelminthes, we are saying that they are having some special cells called what? Flame cells, which help in osmoregulation and excretion. Sexes are not separate. This too many times we discussed. For that, one scientific term is there. What is the term? Yes, that is hermaphrodite. Fertilization is internal and development is through many larval stages. So that what we have to understand. If during development larval stage is coming, so we can tell that development is indirect. So in the case of Platyhelminthes, sexes are not separate. That means hermaphrodite. Fertilization is internal and development is through many larval stages, means development is indirect. Some members like Planaria possess high regeneration capacity. Regeneration is a type of asexual reproduction. So in that case, we have to understand both the type of reproduction is present. Sexual reproduction is also there, and even asexual in the case of Planaria, that is through regeneration process. What is regeneration capacity means? If the organism is dividing into many parts, from each part the complete organism is developing. So that is the regeneration capacity. Example, Taenia, tapeworm, fasciola, liver fluke. So in the case of Platyhelminthes, why they have got the name? From there we have discussed many points. So now when we are going to each phylum, it's very simple, very easy to understand, because whatever points we learned in basics of classification, that will be repeating there. And some unique features if coming, that you have to remember. Habitat you have to understand. Reproduction point you have to understand. Some special structure if coming, then you have to understand that. So it's so easy. And the examples you have to remember. What's the scientific name? What is the common name? All these points you have to keep in mind while you are going to attend the paper. Okay, now let's see some points from material. Please all of you take out page number 17. Let's start. Phylum Platyhelminthes. First point. They have dorsoventrally flattened body, hence are called flatworms. These are mostly endoparasites found in animals including human being, but some are free living. Study of worms causing parasitic infestation in human is called helminthology. That point is coming as extra that you have to underline. Study of worms causing parasitic infestation or infection in human is called helminthology. So what is helminthology? Study of worms causing parasitic infestation in human is called helminthology. Note down the point, that is very important. Next point, body is bilaterally symmetrical and body organization is organ or organ system grade in some species. Next point, body is triploblastic. That is, body is formed from 3 germinal layers: ectoderm, endoderm and mesoderm. Locomotory organs are absent in these animals, but adhesive organs, adhesive word means you have to understand attaching organs. For attachment, organs like suckers, hook, etc. are present in parasitic form. Epidermis is sometimes ciliated. Epidermis is sometimes ciliated. On the body wall of parasitic animals, a thick cuticle is present. That is known as tegument. What is tegument? On the body wall of parasitic animals, a thick cuticle is present. That is known as tegument. That also one another point is coming which was not discussed in textbook. Please underline the same. Thick cuticle protects the parasite from the digestive enzymes of the host. As we discussed, they are endoparasites, so anyhow living inside the host body. So as they are living inside, many digestive enzymes are there, so it can harm them. To get protection from these digestive enzymes, this tegument is helping the parasitic Platyhelminthes. Muscles in the body wall are mesodermal. Below the epidermis, longitudinal, circular and oblique muscles are present. So when we are seeing the body structure of Platyhelminthes, outer layer, that is epidermis, and then after muscles even present. So muscles in the body wall are mesodermal. That means they are derived from mesoderm. Below the epidermis, longitudinal, circular and oblique muscles are present. These are acoelomate. That means body cavity is absent. In between various organs, a solid, loose, mesodermal tissue called mesenchyma or parenchyma is present. Once again see that point. First we told they are acoelomate. Then in between various organs, a solid, loose mesodermal tissue called mesenchyma or parenchyma is present. Next point, digestive system incomplete. Even earlier we discussed incomplete digestive system is also known as blind sac body plan. And without anus, but in tapeworm, digestive system is completely absent. So if digestive system is present, it is incomplete. And without anus. Incomplete means we have to understand only one opening is present. So here anus is absent. But in the case of tapeworm, digestive system is completely absent. So how the digestion happens there? They absorb nutrients from the host directly through their body surface. So in the case of tapeworm or Taenia, how the digestion occurs? They absorb nutrients from the host directly through their body surface. And coming to the next point, skeleton, respiratory and circulatory systems are absent. Skeletal system is absent, respiratory system is absent and circulatory system is absent. Now regarding respiration, they respire through body surface. Anaerobic respiration is found in internal parasite like Taenia. Taenia is tapeworm. Anaerobic respiration means absence of oxygen, that is known as anaerobic respiration. So first point, they respire through body surface. Anaerobic respiration is found in internal parasite like Taenia. Excretion occurs through specialized cells called flame cells or solenocytes or protonephridia. They also help in osmoregulation. Once again, see the point. Excretion occurs through specialized cells called flame cells or solenocytes, and even it is known as protonephridia. And they also help in osmoregulation. Nervous system is ladder-like, consists of nerve ring and longitudinal nerve cords. Nervous system is ladder-like, consists of nerve ring and longitudinal nerve cords. They are bisexual. Reproductive system is complex and well developed. Fertilization is internal. Development indirect through many larval stage. Bisexual means again the same word we can use, hermaphrodite. Means sexes are not separate. Some members like planaria possess high regeneration capacity. So most of the points we discussed from the textbook same only there, but some extra points we have discussed here that you have to note down because these types of questions can be asked for NEET. So now phylum Platyhelminthes divided into three classes: Turbellaria, Trematoda, Cestoda. In the case of Turbellaria, they are freshwater or marine water. Habitat is freshwater or marine water. They are mostly free living, called eddy worms. This point you have to remember because Platyhelminthes divided into three classes. From that, first one is Turbellaria. Their habitat mostly freshwater or marine water, and they are free living, called eddy worms. Example, Dugacia or Planaria. Second, Trematoda, mostly endoparasite. Body is flat and leaf-like, so-called flukes. If you remember the example, liver fluke we told. So why they are known like that? Body is flat and leaf-like, so it is known as flukes, and they are mostly endoparasite. Example, Fasciola, sheep liver fluke, Schistosoma, the blood flukes, Paragonimus, lung fluke worm, that is in lungs of man and pig, Opisthochus, human liver fluke or Chinese liver fluke. Little bit of terms are there. Once again we can see the examples. Fasciola, sheep liver flukes, Schistosoma, the blood flukes, Paragonimus, lung fluke worm in lungs of man and pig, Opisthochus, human liver fluke or Chinese liver fluke. Now the third class, that is Cestoda, endoparasite, mostly intestinal parasite, body is ribbon-like and segmented, so-called tapeworms. Example, Taenia solium, pork tapeworm, Taenia saginata, beef tapeworm, Echinococcus, dog tapeworm, Hymenelolepis. It's a very important point. Underline, smallest tapeworm in man's intestine, 200 proglottids or monogenetic. See here, Hymenelolepis They are the smallest tapeworm in man's intestine. The question can be asked in it. Smallest tapeworm in man's intestine. What's the name of that? Hymenelolepis. Coming under the class Cestoda of phylum Platyhelminthes. So now many points are discussed that you have to read, you have to understand that. On the next page, you can see the figure of few common flatworms. From that itself, you can understand the structure of Platyhelminthes. First one, Planaria. Second, Fasciola. Third, Schistosoma. Fourth, Echinococcus granulosus. Tinea solium. And in the case of that, its proglotid is shown as enlarged. And there you can see hooks, suckers. As we discussed, for the endoparasites, it's needed for adhesion or attachment. So here, we are completing the topic regarding phylum Platyhelminthes. I think this phylum is clear for you. First of all, phylum Platyhelminthes. The topic is over. I think the points are clear for you. Why Platyhelminthes are known as flatworms? Because they are having dorso-ventrally flattened body. And mostly they are endoparasites. And they are even found in animals including human beings. They are bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic, coelomate animals with organ level of organization. For attachment, as the parasitic form is there, they are having hooks and suckers. And some of them absorb nutrients from the host directly through their body surface. And in Platyhelminthes, some specialized cells present. They are known as flame cells, which help in osmoregulation and excretion. Sexes are not separate, so we can call them as hermaphrodite or bisexual. Fertilization is internal and development is through many larval stage, means we have to understand development is indirect. And in the case of Planaria, they are having high regeneration capacity. If the question is asking that the organism which is having high regeneration capacity coming under Platyhelminthes is which one? So you have to remember Planaria. And examples we have seen Tinea, tapeworm, Fasciola, liver fluke. Now we are going to start the next phylum, that is phylum Aschelminthes. Okay, now let's start phylum Aschelminthes. The body of the Aschelminthes is circular in cross section. Hence the name roundworms. So now when we are going to discuss each phylum, you have to connect all the points what we have learned in Platyhelminthes and you have to compare with the points there. In the case of Platyhelminthes, we told that they are also known as or commonly known as flatworms because they are having the body structure dorso-ventrally flattened. But in the case of Aschelminthes, now we are seeing that the body of the Aschelminthes is circular in cross section. Hence the name roundworms. So why Aschelminthes known as roundworms? Because the body of the Aschelminthes is circular in cross section. Hence the name roundworms. They may be free living, aquatic and terrestrial or parasitic in plants and animals. So here when we are coming to the point of habitat of Aschelminthes, where they are staying, where they are found, we have to understand they may be free living, aquatic, in water also they are living, and terrestrial on land also living types are there, and even parasitic forms are there, and this parasitism is in plants and animals. Roundworms have organ system level of body organization. So again level of organization we can have a quick revision. In Porifera it was what we discussed, cellular level. In coelenterate and ctenophore tissue level. And then in the Platyhelminthes first time we saw organ level of organization. And here in the case of Aschelminthes coming the highest level, that is the organ system level of body organization. And they are bilaterally symmetrical. That was even in the case of which one? Platyhelminthes. So symmetry is same in both the case. They are bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic. That means body is formed from three germinal layers: ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm. Pseudocoelomate animals means what you have to understand. What was the definition we discussed regarding coelom and its types? Based on the presence or absence of coelom, we divided the organism into three categories. Which were they? Coelomate, pseudocoelomate and acoelomate. So in the case of platyhelminthes, we discussed that they are acoelomate, absence of coelom. But in the case of aschelminthes, coming to the next phylum, we are seeing that they are pseudocoelomate animals. So what we have to understand from that? Here, mesoderm is found as scattered pouches in between ectoderm and endoderm. Next point is coming. Alimentary canal is complete with a well-developed muscular pharynx. So regarding digestive system, till now we were saying that it is incomplete. Only one opening is present like that. But here we are saying that it is complete. Means what we have to understand? Both the openings are present, mouth and anus. So in the case of aschelminthes, what we are saying, alimentary canal, the digestive canal or digestive tract is complete with a well-developed muscular pharynx. An excretory tube removes body waste from the body cavity through the excretory pore. Once again say that point. An excretory tube removes body waste from the body cavity through the excretory pore. In the case of platyhelminthes, we told that they are having some specialized cells called flame cells which help in excretion and osmoregulation. When coming to aschelminthes, we are saying that here what we have said, an excretory tube is present which removes the body waste from the body cavity through the excretory pore. Sexes are separate. So here first time we are saying that sexes are separate. That is dioecious. Means males and females are distinct or they are separate. So sexes are separate. Till now we were saying that sexes are not separate. But in the aschelminthes we are seeing that sexes are separate. So here we are using the terminology dioecious. Dioecious means what? Males and females are distinct. And here one unique characteristic is coming. In the case of aschelminthes, often females are longer than males. Whenever you are going to attend practical exam in bio, this question can be asked. Means it can be kept in specimen. You have to identify. So if these two kept together, so from that you have to identify which is male and female. So easy to remember the point that female is always longer than males in the case of aschelminthes. So often females are longer than males. Fertilization is internal and development may be direct. May be direct means you have to understand the young ones resemble the adult. Or indirect. Indirect means what we discussed earlier. During development, larval stage is coming and that is not distinct with the adult one. But in the case of direct, the young one resemble the adult. So here development may be direct or indirect. Example, Ascaris, roundworm, Wuchereria, filarial worm, Ancylostoma, hookworm. Once again see the examples. Ascaris, common name is roundworm, Wuchereria, filaria worm, Ancylostoma, hookworm. So many points we discussed regarding phylum Aschelminthes. The body of Aschelminthes is circular in cross section, so hence they are known as roundworms. Regarding habitat, they may be free living, aquatic and terrestrial or parasitic in plants and animals. And level of body organization you're seeing, so they are having organ system level of body organization, and the symmetry is bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic and pseudocoelomate animals. And regarding digestive canal or digestive system, we are saying it is having complete alimentary canal with a well-developed muscular pharynx. And for excretion, an excretory tube is present which removes the body waste from the body cavity through the excretory pore. Sexes are separate, means they are dioecious, that is males and females are distinct. And for identifying, often females are longer than males. Fertilization is internal and development may be direct. In the case of direct, the young ones resemble the adult, or may be indirect. That means we have to understand during development larval stages come. Examples: Ascaris, commonly known as roundworm, Wuchereria filaria worm, and Ancylostoma hookworm. So some extra points can be discussed from the material. Please take out page number 20. Phylum Nemathelminthus or Aschelminthus. Phylum Aschelminthus. From the textbook we told that they are commonly known as roundworms. And one more name is for them, Nemathelminthus, and even it is known as nematodes. Phylum includes means phylum Nemathelminthus or Aschelminthus includes roundworms which appears circular in cross section. Nematodes are found everywhere. They may be free living, aquatic and terrestrial, or parasite in plants and animals. They have long cylindrical body with tapering ends without segmentation. With the tapering ends means pointed ends and without segmentation. They have long cylindrical body with a tapering. Tapering means pointing. Pointed ends without segmentation. Symmetry is bilateral. Germ layer या embryonic layer triploblastic. Level of organization organ system level, and having tube within tube body plan. Means what to understand? Digestive system complete. Anterior end does not show distinct head. So what is saying here? Anterior end does not show distinct head. Cephalization is absent. Cephalo word means you have to understand head. Here cephalization is absent means anterior end does not show distinct head. Body wall consists of cuticle, epidermis, muscle layer. Cuticle is non-living, thick and resistant to digestive enzymes of host. Epidermis, syncytial, that is a continuous layer of cytoplasm having scattered nuclei. This terminology you have to understand. Syncytium or syncytial epidermis means what to understand? A continuous layer of cytoplasm having scattered nuclei. Many nuclei are present and they are found as scattered in the cytoplasm. Muscle layer, only longitudinal muscle fibers present. Next point, they are pseudocoelomate animals. Body cavity is there between body wall and digestive tract, which is not lined by mesodermal epithelium, that is pseudocoel, developed from embryonic blastocyst. Skeleton is absent, but fluid pressure in the pseudocoelom maintains the body shape. It is called hydroskeleton. In the case of Nemathelminthus or Aschelminthus or nematodes, skeleton is absent, but in that fluid pressure in the pseudocoelom maintains the body shape. Such type of skeleton is known as hydroskeleton. Digestive tract is complete and differentiated into mouth, pharynx, intestine and anus. Pharynx is muscular and well developed. It is used to suck the liquid food. Intestine is non-muscular. Respiration is through body surface by diffusion. Excretory system is H-shaped and consists of excretory canals. They are known as protonephridia, which removes body waste from body cavity through excretory pores. So excretory canals present, it's also known as protonephridia, and they develop from an embryonic rennet cell. This is very important, which you have to underline, which you have to remember also. These protonephridia, which are developed from an embryonic rennet cell. That special cell that is known as rennet cell. Excretory matter is ammonia. Nervous system comprises a nerve ring, that is brain, and longitudinal nerve cords. Sense organs like papillae, that is tankoreceptors, amphids, chemoreceptor, are present on lips, while phasmids, chemoreceptor, are found on tail. So here another or important point is coming, which was not at all discussed in the textbook. Nervous system, that point was taught, comprises of a nerve ring, that is the brain and longitudinal nerve cords. Sense organs like papillae, tangoreceptors for tongue test, amphids, chemoreceptor. So they are present on lips, while phasmids, that is also chemoreceptor, but they are found on tail. So tangoreceptor papillae, chemoreceptor amphids present on lips. These amphids present on lips. And another chemoreceptor phasmids are found on tail. Reproduction system is developed and sexes are separate, and the term we are using dioecious for that. Sexual dimorphism is present. Male is smaller than female and curved from its caudal end. Male is smaller than female and curved from its caudal end. Male has pineal setae for copulation. In the diagram, it is shown. Male and female as is shown in the figure. As we discussed in the point, male is smaller than female and curved from its caudal end, tail end, caudal end. And male has pineal setae, and that is needed for copulation, mating. Genital tract joins with digestive tract to form cloaca. Genital tract means reproductive tract joins with the digestive tract to form cloaca. Female is larger than male and straight at both ends. As compared to male, we can see that in the case of female, they are larger, but both the ends are tapered, pointed. Genital and digestive tract open independently. So as in the case of male, here cloaca is not present. In the male, cloaca is present because genital tract joins with the digestive tract to form cloaca. But in the case of female, genital and digestive tract open independently, separately, so cloaca absent. Female lays large number of fertilized eggs. Fertilization is internal and development may be direct or indirect. Example, Ascaris, intestinal roundworm. In small intestine they are found. Larval stage is rhabditiform, rhabditoid. Once again say the name, rhabditiform, rhabditoid. Ancylostoma, hookworm. In small intestine. Third, Wuchereria, filarial worm, viviparous, and digenetic parasite that causes filariasis or elephantiasis disease. Carrier host is female Culex mosquito. Alert mainly infects lymph vessels and lymph nodes in humans. So many examples are here. First one Ascaris, second Ancylostoma, third Wuchereria, fourth is Dracunculus, that is guinea worm commonly known as, and even Medina worm or fiery serpent. Digenetic, Cyclops as intermediate host. Oldest discovered nematode is Dracunculus. What is speciality of Dracunculus? They are the oldest discovered nematode. Enterobius, pinworm or seatworm in large intestine. In small intestine we told intestinal roundworm Ascaris. Here Enterobius, pinworm or seatworm in large intestine present. Next is Trichuris, whipworm in intestine. Rhabditis, free-living nematode. Viviparous, worm are Trichinella, Wuchereria. Some roundworms that parasitize man. So in the figure, you can see some roundworms that parasitize man. First is shown of Ascaris, second hookworm, then whipworm Trichoris, then guinea worm Dracunculus medinensis, being wound on a stick. Whipworm Trichoris trichura from cecum. Hookworm Necator americanus from intestine. Once again see the figure. Ascaris, male and female. There you can see the differences between them. Hookworm Necator americanus from intestine. Whipworm Trichoris trichura from cecum. Guinea worm Dracunculus medinensis, being wound on a stick. So we have discussed regarding phylum Platyhelminthes, Aschelminthes. Aschelminthes also known as Nemathelminthes or nematodes. Now we are coming to the next phylum, that is phylum Annelida. Phylum Annelida, they may be aquatic, marine and freshwater, or terrestrial, free-living and sometimes parasitic. Once again see the point regarding habitat. They may be aquatic, marine and freshwater, or terrestrial, found on land, free-living and sometimes parasitic. They exhibit organ system level of body organization and bilateral symmetry. They are triploblastic, metamerically segmented and coelomate animals. So when the basis of classification we were discussing, that time we told one point, metamerism or segmentation. So here in Annelida that point is coming. Rest all the points we discussed in almost all the phyla. But here you can see the body of annelids are metamerically segmented and coelomate animals. That means they are having a body cavity or coelom, which is lined by mesoderm. So they are triploblastic bodies formed from three germinal layers, ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm, metamerically segmented and coelomate animals. Their body surface is distinctly marked out into segments or metameres, and hence the phylum name Annelida. So when we are saying about the name, we have to understand, actually in the case of Annelida, the word is originated from Latin annulus. Annulus means little ray. Now connected to the point, you have to understand, their body surface is distinctly marked out into segments. Once again, see, their body surface is distinctly marked out into segments, and segments another term is metameres, and hence the phylum name Annelida, because it originated from Latin word annulus, which means little ring. In the figure 4.11, you can see examples of Annelida, Nereis and Hirudinaria. There you can see the segments or metameres. They possess longitudinal and circular muscles which help in locomotion. Locomotion means movement. Aquatic annelids like Nereis possess lateral appendages. In the figure you can see this aquatic annelid, example is Nereis. They are having lateral appendage. Lateral means you have to understand sidewise appendage. Appendage present on both the side. So appendage is present on both the side. Lateral means side. Appendage means foot-like part. So here appendages present on both the sides. That's why it's known as lateral appendages. In the case of aquatic annelid, example Nereis. So aquatic annelids like Nereis possess lateral appendages. We can call them as parapodia. Para means lateral, sidewise. Podia means appendages. So in the case of aquatic annelids like Nereis, they possess lateral appendages known as parapodia and which help them in swimming as they are living in aquatic condition. Now a closed circulatory system is present. What does it mean, closed circulatory system? When we are discussing the basis of classification, so that time we told that regarding digestive system, it is complete or incomplete. Circulatory system open or closed. So that time we gave the difference between open circulatory system and closed circulatory system. In closed circulatory system, there well developed vascular system is present. So in the case of annelids also closed circulatory system is present. Nephridia, singular is nephridium, help in osmoregulation and excretion. Before this, when we are discussing regarding Aschelminthus, we told that protonephridia. So here, the well-developed nephridia, singular is nephridium, present in annelids, they help them for osmoregulation and excretion. Neural system consists of paired ganglia. Singular of ganglia is ganglion, connected by lateral nerves to a double ventral nerve cord. So when we are coming to phylum Annelida as compared to other phyla which we discussed from Porifera to Aschelminthus, that means Porifera, Coelenterata, Ctenophora, Platyhelminthes and Aschelminthus, as compared to them, this is more evolved or highly evolved than earlier discussed ones. So here regarding the nervous system also we can see that neural system or nervous system consists of paired ganglia connected by lateral nerves to a double ventral nerve cord. Nereis, an aquatic form, is dioecious. Dioecious means what to understand? Sexes are separate. But earthworms and leeches are monoecious. Monoecious means hermaphrodite. Sexes are not separate. Reproduction is sexual. Once again, see the last point. Nereis, an aquatic form, is dioecious. That means sexes are separate. But earthworms and leeches are monoecious. Means you have to understand sexes are not separate or hermaphrodite. Reproduction is sexual. Example, Nereis, Pheretima, earthworm, and Hirudinaria, blood-sucking leech. So, three examples are given here. Nereis, an aquatic form, Pheretima, earthworm, and Hirudinaria, blood-sucking leech. So, here in the case of phylum Annelida, we have discussed many points. They may be aquatic, marine and freshwater, or terrestrial, free-living, and sometimes parasitic. Level of body organization. They exhibit organ system level of body organization. When coming to the point of symmetry, they are having bilateral symmetry. They are triploblastic. Metamerism is present, that is metamerically segmented, and they are coelomate animals, means body cavity is present. And the body surface is distinctly marked out into segments or metameres, and hence the phylum name Annelids. So how the phylum get its name? That we discussed in the case of Platyhelminthes, because dorso-ventrally flattened body, so they are known as flatworms. Annelids in the cross section they found as round, so their name is roundworms. In the case of annelids, again what we are saying that the word originated from the Latin word annulus, which means little ring, and hence the phylum got its name Annelid. And they possess longitudinal and circular muscles which help in locomotion. And they are having aquatic annelids like Nereis possess lateral appendages. They are known as parapodia, which help in swimming. And regarding the circulatory system, when we are seeing in annelids, they are having a closed circulatory system. And for excretion and osmoregulation, they are having nephridia. Connected to nervous system, they are having paired ganglia connected by lateral nerves to a double ventral nerve cord. Regarding sexes, when we are saying Nereis, an aquatic form is dioecious, that means sexes are separate. But in the case of earthworm and leeches, they are monoecious. Reproduction is sexual. Okay, now some more points we can learn from the material. Please take out page number 22. Phylum Annelida. First point, they are free living, found in moist soil, fresh water or sea, but few are parasitic. Body is soft, elongated, cylindrical and divided into segments or metameres by ring-like grooves called annuli. Annulus singular, annuli plural. They are bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic and have organ system level of organization with tube within tube body plan. That means complete digestive system is present. They are metamerically segmented and coelomate animals. Anterior end has a distinct head with a sense organ in few annelids. Example, Nereis. In the figure it's given examples of Annelida. Nereis, it's an aquatic form, and Hydroneria, blood-sucking leech. Next point, they have chitinous setae. Setae are the locomotory organ of these annelids, and they are made up of chitin. That's why it's known as chitinous setae. And the lateral muscular appendages called parapodia present for locomotion. Body wall consists of cuticle, epidermis, muscle layer. Cuticle is moist and elastic. Epidermis, living layer that secretes dead cuticle outside. Muscle layer contains circular and longitudinal muscle which help in locomotion. Body cavities through coelom lined by mesodermal coelomic epithelium, that is schizocele. First eucoelom. First eucoelomate means true coelomate. And it is filled with a coelomic fluid that serves as a hydrostatic skeleton. As we discussed earlier, they protect or they serve as cushion and they protect them from shock. Digestive tract is complete, straight and extends through the entire body. Digestive glands are developed for the first time in Annelida. Underline that point. So related to digestive system, when we are saying digestive gland first time developed in Annelida. Respiration is through moist skin. So that is known as cutaneous respiration. Cutaneous means through skin. Some have gills. Then it is known as branchial respiration. So respiration, two types. Cutaneous also there, branchial also If through moist skin, then it is known as cutaneous respiration, and if through gills, if it is there, so it is known as branchial respiration. Circulatory system is closed type and pulsatile heart present. So when we are discussing regarding Annelida, you can see the evolution, development regarding each system. Because we already told that they are having organ system level of organization. Obviously, each and every system, somewhat development can be seen. Circulatory system is closed type and pulsatile heart present. The blood is red with hemoglobin-like pigment which remain dissolved in plasma. So it is known as erythrocruorin. So hemoglobin-like pigment. We are not saying the hemoglobin. Hemoglobin-like pigment which remain dissolved in plasma is known as erythrocruorin. It has amoeboid corpuscles only. Means amoeboid cells. Corpuscles means amoeboid cells only. RBCs absent. That means red blood cells are absent. RBCs means red blood cells are absent. But what is present? Hemoglobin-like pigment is present. Because of that, blood is red. And that is present in the form of dissolved and where in plasma. So it's known as erythrocruorin. Next point, excretory organ is nephridia. Singular as we discussed, nephridium. They also helps in osmoregulation. Excretory matter, ammonia in aquatic form, urea in land form. As we discussed that when we are discussing about the habitat, aquatic and terrestrial both are there. So in aquatic form, excretory matter is ammonia, and in terrestrial form, excretory matter is urea. Nervous system consists of a nerve ring, that is brain, and a solid, double and ventral nerve cord with ganglia. Reproduction is sexual. Nereis is dioecious, but earthworm and leeches are monoecious. Development is direct or indirect. If it is indirect, so larval stage is present, and that larval stage is free-swimming, ciliated, and the name of the larva is trophophore larva. Please remember the point. Underline that. Very important point is there. In the case of annelids, if the development is indirect, obviously larval stage is present and the larval stage is known as trophophore, and they are free-swimming ciliated larva. So here one golden key point is given. During course of evolution, metameric segmentation, true coelom, closed circulatory system, and pumping heart appeared first in annelids. As I discussed with you these points there. During course of evolution, when we have started from porifera to annelid, we have seen first time this much evolution or development in the case of annelida only. So during course of evolution, metameric segmentation, true coelom, closed circulatory system, and pumping heart appeared first time in annelids. Very important point. So as we discussed in all other phyla, in the case of annelida is also divided into three classes, and it is here divided into three classes on the basis of presence or absence and position of setae. Setae, as we discussed, locomotory organ of terrestrial annelids. And in aquatic, as we discussed, parapodia in Nereis. So based on the presence or absence and even on the position of setae, annelida is classified into three classes. They are Polychaeta, Oligochaeta, Hirudinea. In Polychaeta, most of the members are found in seawater. Oligochaeta, mostly terrestrial, but some are aquatic. In the class Hirudinea, includes aquatic and terrestrial leeches which are ectoparasite. Ectoparasite means found on outside of the host body or living on out of host body. And sanguivorous. Sanguivorous means blood sucking. They feed on blood. That is known as sanguivorous. Second point related to head. Cephalization is present in the case of Polychaeta. Cephalization is absent or no distinct head in the case of Oligochaeta. Cephalization totally absent in the case of Hirudinea. Mainly parapodia helps in locomotion in the case of Polychaeta. Setae numerous and are present on parapodia. In the case of Oligochaeta, setae are present for locomotion. Number of setae is limited and situated in body wall. Parapodia and sucker are absent. In the case of Polychaeta, we saw that parapodia is present, even setae numerous are there and present on parapodia there. But in the case of Oligochaeta, setae are present for locomotion, number of setae limited also there and they are situated on the body wall. Parapodia and sucker absent. In the case of Hirudinea, the third class, parapodia and setae are absent. They have suckers at both the ends. Next, clitellum absent in the case of Polychaeta. Clitellum is present permanently for cocoon formation in the case of Oligochaeta. Clitellum 9 to 11 segments developed only in breeding season in the case of Hirudinea. Animals, unisexual and gonads are formed only during breeding season. Bisexual or hermaphrodite, external and cross fertilization. In the case of Hirudinea, bisexual, fertilization is internal. Development is indirect. Larval stage is called trochophore. In Oligochaeta, development is direct. That means no larval stage during development. In Hirudinea is also development is direct. That means young one resembles the adult. No larval stage. Only Polychaeta we can see larval stage and the larva is known as trochophore. So examples of each. Polychaeta, example Nereis. They are also known as sandworm or ringworm. Aphrodite, sea mouse. Oligochaeta examples Pheretima, Utypheus. See the name once again. Pheretima, Utypheus, North Indian earthworm. Lumbricus, European earthworm. Dravida megascalex, South Indian earthworm. Once again see the example. Pheretima, Utypheus, North Indian earthworm. Lumbricus, European earthworm. Dravida megascalex, South Indian earthworm. In the case of Hirudinea, as we told, development is direct, no larval stage. Number of segments in leeches are fixed, that is 33 segments. Very important point is there. Related to Hirudinea, when we are saying about number of segments, they are having fixed number, 33 segments are there. Anticoagulant hirudin is present in the saliva. This is a very important point because first point we told that they are ectoparasite and sanguivorous. Feed on blood or blood sucking leeches are there. So if they have to suck blood from the host, obviously anticoagulant is present. Usually what they are doing, they are making a Y-shaped wound on the host and then after they are sucking the blood. So during sucking, if the blood is getting clotted, it is not possible to suck. So for that, in their saliva, what is present? Anticoagulant. That means blood won't clot like that. Material is present. So anticoagulant hirudin is present in the saliva. Circulation with hemocoelomic system. That means coelom is filled with blood. That is hemocoelomic system. Coelom is divided in many tubes having coelomic fluid and hemoglobin. A special mesodermal tissue, its name is botryoidal tissue, made up of adipose tissue, is present for fat storage and excretion. So here are some extra points coming which you have to remember. Coelom is divided in many tubes having coelomic fluid and hemoglobin. Special mesodermal tissue, botryoidal tissue made up of adipose tissue, is present for fat storage and excretion. Example, Hirudinaria, freshwater leech. Bonellia, marine leech. Male is ill-developed and lives permanently in the uterus of female. It's a unique feature you can see. In the case of Bonellia, marine leech they are, and male is ill-developed, not well-developed, and they live permanently where in the uterus of female. Next example is Pontobdella, skate sucker. Hirudo, medicinal leech. They are highly modified or highly developed because as we discussed that in their saliva what is present, anticoagulant hirudin. It's very important. So medicinal value is also for this hirudin. So hirudo, medicinal leech, that's why it's known as. So till now we have discussed regarding many phyla. Phylum Platyhelminthes, phylum Aschelminthes, phylum Annelida. So I think the points are clear for you. When we are learning this each phylum, you have to compare the points with each other. So then it is easy for remembering.
Kingdom Animalia, phylum Platyhelminthes. The third phylum is Platyhelminthes, which includes flatworms which are unsegmented bilaterally symmetrical worms. Flatworms show a definite level of organization. They are the first and the simplest organisms having an organ system. Flatworms do not have a definite skeleton, but have a cuticle which protects their bodies. Flatworms have a highly branched cut with a mouth, but the anus is absent. A muscular suctorial pharynx is present for taking in the food. Flatworms mark the beginning of cephalization. Cephalization is the development in the head region of light-sensitive organs called ocelli. For example, Planaria have eye spots at the anterior end. Non-parasitic flatworms respire through their body's surface, while parasitic worms are mostly anaerobes. Parasitic flatworms bear organs of adhesion such as hooks, suckers, and spines. In flatworms, the central nervous system consists of a head ganglion connected to nerve cords which are interconnected across the body by transverse nerve connections. Excretion and osmoregulation in flatworms is controlled by the flame cells. Flame cells beat incessantly, resembling a flickering flame, and are hence called flame cells. Most flatworms can reproduce sexually or asexually. They are hermaphrodites, that is, both sexes are present in the same individual, except in the case of planarians, which are monoecious. The development may be direct, where eggs hatch into small tiny worms that resemble the adult, or it may be an indirect development where the eggs hatch into ciliated larval forms. Phylum Platyhelminthes is further divided into three classes: Turbellaria, Trematoda, and Cestoda. Class Turbellaria includes non-parasitic and aquatic flatworms which possess a great power of regeneration. An example of the same is Planaria.